Let's take another breath. As we're moving into the month of July. Our new theme for this month is joy. And my topic today is joyful no matter what. This is a pretty good time in history to remember that. I'm just saying. Joyful no matter what. One of the things that we do sometimes is that we confuse joy with happy. We confuse being joyful with being happy. Okay? The root word of happy is hap, circumstance, happenstance, circumstance. We're happy when we are pleased with our circumstances. Okay? And we make this mistake sometimes of allowing our joy to be contingent upon how happy we are. If I'm not happy, then I can't be joyful. And because we are mixing up joy with circumstances, I'm looking around for a reason to be joyful. And if I can't find any reasons to be joyful in my circumstances, then somehow it feels like it's foolish to be joyful. Or sometimes even a betrayal to be joyful. Think about that for a moment. That sometimes the way that we register love to people is by empathizing and sympathizing with them, is sharing in whatever is going on with them. So if there are people who are close to us who have circumstances that are not making them very happy, sometimes we feel like perhaps it's inappropriate for us to show up with joy, because that will somehow negate, dismiss, not affirm their pain. Do I have any witnesses in the house? We do that with other people. We even do that with our own selves. Is my being joyful somehow a betrayal to this pain I need to keep experiencing? Do I need to say that again? I think I need to say that again. Can I say that again? What did I say? Oh, shoot, it was good. That sometimes with our own selves, we are afraid that if we are joyful, we are betraying the pain that we should be working through or experiencing. You can have both. Let that sink in for a moment. You can be completely in the pain, not trying to do spiritual bypass or denial or any of the rest of that, and in fact still be in joy. That, I find, is one of the secrets of life. And I'll come back and explain how. Because it's like, really? Life is paradoxical. In our Western thinking, we get very much in an either or. It's this or that. But life isn't this or that. Life is and. Listen to what I'm saying. Because life is the gestalt of it all. This and that are both existing in the same infinite. Okay? In the infinite is this and that. Okay? Because the infinite contains all finite. But the mistake that we make is trying to put all of the infinite into the finite, so that all of the infinite is either this or all of the infinite is either that. And it's not. The infinite holds it all. Joy and pain. High and low. Or as it says in Scripture, the darkness and the light are the same to me. There's this interplay, this interdynamic, this interdependence that's happening with all things. They are not separate and distinct. It's all there. And a paradox is when things seemingly contradictory are simultaneously true. That's the paradox. Is when it appears to be complete opposite, but they are both, not but, and they are both true. Opposites attract. Like attracts like. They're both true. You want to bring something into your experience? You give it some energy. You focus on it. Allow it to, through laws of attraction, come to you. You want something in your life? You want it to stay? Let it go. Release it. And I know this stuff is absolutely maddening when you're coming on this spiritual journey, because you're trying to figure out, well, what am I supposed to do? Do I do this? Do I do that? Do I affirm it? Or do I just trust the universe? Do I do this? Do I do that? But it's all true. It's all true. When it looks like something is dying, something is also being birthed. It's all true. Even a human birth is death to the womb. That life's over. And now you got this other life. And then we slough off the mortal coil, we're experiencing another kind of life. But it wasn't a different life inside the womb and outside of the womb. It's the same life with a different experience, with a different environment. Okay? When you slough off the mortal coil, there's not an afterlife. There's just life. And life in its many forms and its many different iterations from whatever it's looking like then. You go from a fetus to an embryo to fetus, you got a baby, you got a person, slough off that, you got the spirit. It's just matter is neither created nor destroyed, it's only changing form. So what happens for us is that we get a lot of attachment to the forms. We get a lot of attachment to however life is showing up in this moment. So what happens is that this big infinite that's everywhere present localizes itself. And as it localizes itself, it takes form. You have music. Where is music? Where is it? It's everywhere, yes? Is there more music in China than there is in Switzerland? There can't be more music one place than another place. Are you with me? Because there's just music. But in order for us to really experience the music, we put it into form. That's when we get songs. That's when we get melodies. That's when we get rhythms. So every song is an expression of music, right? Every song is nothing but music. But all of music can't fit in every song. Okay? Every song is pure music, but all of music is not in every song. So we hold on to stuff that only is a small sample of the total, and we hold on to it as though it is the total. Like all of music is in this song. There's love, and then there are relationships. And we treat those relationships as though all of love is in that relationship. So that if something happens with that relationship, love is gone. Love isn't any more gone than music is gone when that song is no longer sung. Songs come and go. Relationships come and go. Stuff comes and goes, but the essence stays the same. Are you with me? So part of the joy comes from this awareness of not getting stuck on the form. Not getting stuck on the form, but an openness to the bigness of it all. Part of the reason why children can experience so much joy is that they've got far less attachment. Okay? They've got far less attachment. You know, I love my spirit definitions, and I was getting sent to some of them this morning. And they always talk about where there's something that we have to bring to the table that interfaces in some way with something that Spirit already has expressing here, and you put them together, and then we get to experience the spiritual quality. And so much of joy is caught up in this thing called non-attachment, a transcendent awareness that has non-attachment. And we tend to think of non-attachment as stop caring. I'm not attached. And in that non-attachment, even we think might include a lot of dire or negative stuff. I'm just going to be non-attached. And we confuse non-attachment with detachment. But I love the way that the Spirit definitions, these downloads defines non-attachment. It says non-attachment is when your desire for certainty dissipates from my infinite possibilities. Non-attachment is when your desire for certainty, dissipates. Just right there alone. It's just a desire. It isn't even a need. That thing we have about wanting to know everything, It's not a need. It's a desire. It's where this desire for certainty dissipates. I never really had much affinity for that word dissipate until I moved to this area. So I've been living in Aptos in the Santa Cruz, California area for almost 30 years. And there's this thing that happens here called a fog belt, where literally you can be on the freeway and you can just see it. It's like a cloud of smoke or something like that that just runs like this little band, like this one little neighborhood, like through here. And when it gets hot on the other side of the Santa Cruz Mountains, like really hot, and it condenses with the cool of the ocean here, boom, it's like we get fogged in. But this little spot in Santa Cruz gets like double, triple fog. And I can never even tell. Like from where I live now, it's like just a couple of miles, from that, and it's all sunny, and I've got my flip-flops on, and I'm ready to go to the beach, and I go down, and it is cold down there. It could be 10 degrees difference in 2 miles. I'm serious. But what happens is that the heat of the sun dissipates the fog. I want you to catch that. There's no struggle. There's no duking it out with the fog. There's no drama. It just, whew, I want you to catch that. It just, boop, it just disappears. I want you to catch, really listen to what I'm saying, is that right before your eyes, just like the fog runs in, you can see it roll in, it rolls away. So imagine if your desire for certainty just kind of, okay? Where you weren't struggling with it, you weren't making it bad, you weren't trying to get rid of it, you weren't judging it, you weren't doing anything. But just like the sun dissipates the fog, there is something that dissipates our desire for certainty. Its heat, just like the sun, dissipates it. God's infinite possibilities. When your desire for certainty dissipates with this awareness of infinite possibilities. See, that's what non-attachment is. See, that's why kids can live in such joy, because they aren't stuck. Okay? We'll be the goblin, and okay, we're done with that, so let's be the fire engine. Okay, and if we're done with being the fire engine, let's run around and be a bird and with feathers. And then it could be this, and then it could be that, and then it could be what, get what I'm saying? Is that because they're living in a place of imagination, because they're living in an awareness, if we're not this, it'll be that. And what is that next that? What is that next that? 5-year-olds aren't trying to cling to what they were doing at 4. 7-year-olds aren't mourning the teddy bears they clung on to at 5. As they're growing, they've got this capacity just sort of like done. And you're running trying to give them their blanket. Oh, I don't need that blanket. And he's like, oh, excuse me. I must be confusing you with my son, who for every day of his life has to have this blanket. And they're looking at you like, well, which son did you have? Because I don't need this blanket now. There's a non-attachment because there is an awareness of infinite possibilities. That's why we don't have the joy. We don't have the joy because we are stuck in the circumstances. And when we are stuck in the circumstances, we can't imagine anything else other than the circumstance. We refuse sometimes to imagine anything else other than the circumstance. But every circumstance comes with new possibilities. I don't care what it is. I don't care how bad of a disaster it may be. You're going to discover compassion in it. You're going to discover people coming together. It could be a flash flood. It could be a hurricane. It could be something that's like blowing everybody else away. And in that moment, you start getting in touch with what's important. And you start seeing a lot of drama isn't. And a lot of stuff that used to divide us and all the rest of that. There's a poster out, and it says, the two most important things to remember. It said, 1, don't sweat the small stuff. 2, it's all small stuff. It's all small stuff. I am not trying to belittle the enormity of circumstances or conditions that we're up against. I'm not saying that it's small in terms of being absolutely insignificant. I'm saying that it's small in comparison to all possibilities. It's small in comparison to all possibilities. My mentor, Reverend Michael Beckwith, used to say, don't tell God about your big problems. Tell your problems about your big God. Check the difference in that. Don't tell your God about your big problems. Tell your problems about your big God. So this place of joy, listen to what I'm saying. It's not running away from it. As long as you see circumstances and think that it's too big, that it's crushing me, I'm never going to get over this. As long as we're thinking that, we are shutting ourselves off to the joy. It's when you sit in it and you get to a place of a transcendent awareness. The transcendent awareness isn't just like up here above everything, but it is that place of the not attachment, which says there's more to life than what I am experiencing now. Listen to what I'm saying. There's more than what I am experiencing now. And when you get to that place, even the deepest pain that you're going through is redeemed. You can be at that moment when somebody very close to you is making their transition, is crossing over to the other side. And if you're really, really present with that moment, in the midst of all of the pain will be an almost surreal beauty. In the midst of that pain, you know that you are witnessing life. Not just death, but that you are witnessing the way that life works. And in that moment, what feels like it's your own personal something stops even being personal. Where you can tap into, oh my God, this is what it's been like throughout all history. And you start to feel like you're a greater part of all of humanity. I personally have never given birth, but I know a lot of people who have, as we all have. And so many women will say that. They will say that at the moment of that pain and at that birth, they tapped into the energy of all the people before them. And they knew that they were participating in some sacred rite initiation passage of pain. But the moment that that baby comes out and they're looking at that baby, that it's all redeemed. Pain and joy. Okay? They're in pain now. They're hurting. Particularly if they've been laboring a long time. But not allowing the physicality of that pain to overshadow this sense of possibilities. Oh my God! There's this human being who's here. Wow! Wow! Holding it both. Are you with me? Joyful no matter what. As we look out upon this world, and particularly as we look out upon this nation, we need some joy. We need some joy. We need to recalibrate up to this awareness that there are infinite possibilities. That there are infinite possibilities. Take a breath. Take a breath. I'm going out on a ledge, but we need to go. When I say recalibrate, what I am saying is that everything is energy. And like energy fields that vibrate together manifest faster. The more in a line and the more synchronized people are in energy, the greater their power or their impact, for better or for worse. It's the intensity of the synchronizing, not the content that they're synchronizing around. It's just that much alignment that makes it come through more. Those who are adhering to oneness, to progressive politics, to the idea of a global citizenship, or that a world that can work for everyone, got to pump up the frequency. Okay? Don't slip down into the mire of the doom and the gloom. Don't slip down there. And now is not the time to get stuck on forms. Listen to what I'm saying. Now is not the time to get stuck on forms. Just like a song is one form of music. It's one expression. A particular relationship is one form of expression of love. Impeachment is one form of expression of justice or order. Listen to what I'm saying. Impeachment is one form. Don't get stuck on any one particular form, because the infinite has all kinds of possibilities. I'm not saying that might not be one of them, but I am saying that an overemphasis on any one particular attachment to one idea of the way things need to happen keeps you stuck on trying to manifest that, as opposed to the justice, as opposed to the wholeness, as opposed to the sanity, as opposed to the global citizenship. See, we got to keep our eye on the prize. This is what we need to speak of. Don't just speak of what you don't want. Don't just speak of all the things that you see are going wrong. Now is the time for us to speak up. Speak up, and you say, well, what is that going to do? Is that going to change people in Washington? I don't care about the people in Washington. The vibration shifts. Okay? The only reason why anybody can get away with anything in Washington is because they are representing the collective vibration. It doesn't start at the top, it culminates at the top. It's trickle up, it's not trickle down. You can't have somebody in office talking crazy stuff if nobody's resonating with it. Listen to what I'm saying. Now is not the time to get into divisiveness. Now is not the time to get into othering. Now is the time to stand in a vision of possibilities, of infinite possibilities. Because what I know is that the mark of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Things can't be out of alignment forever. You can keep the people down some of the time, but you can't keep all the people down all of the time. It will end. Oppression will end. Denigration will end. Segregation will end. Because the will of life is life. The will of life is life, and it will not be suppressed, and it will not be depressed. So now is the time. Now is the time for us to get into the vibration to live there. You got to live there. You can't wait until the circumstances happen to feel it. You got to feel it first. I'm getting an image now. I'm getting an image now. And I probably shouldn't confess this. This is separate from the image. I'll say both. But before I had my first chance to go to Africa, somebody was going to Africa, and they asked me, what did I want? What did I want them to bring me back? And I just stood there for a moment, and I thought about it. And after a few minutes, I said, dirt. I just want to touch the motherland. Bring me some dirt. So not only did they bring me dirt, but they brought me dirt from Robben Island, where Nelson Mandela spent 27 years. And it's on my altar. And it is Ziploc, double sealed, wrapped in caged, because I thought, oh my God, this isn't even supposed to be here. And if something got unleashed in this nation, I would never forgive myself. This thing is double seal wrapped, blah, blah. I touched it and wrapped it all back up. When Nelson Mandela was convicted to life imprisonment, he was 47 years old. This was not his first time in prison. And I don't know why they put him and all his cohorts together. That's one of the dumbest things I ever heard of. So they spent 27 years writing the new South African Constitution in prison. This is that and thing. Yeah, they're in prison. That's their circumstance. I don't think they were pretty happy about it all, particularly doing this mindless breaking of these lime rocks. But they took that time to transcend their circumstance. They took that time to keep imagining what it would be like. Now, he was offered his freedom many times, but it was a conditional freedom. He could get out as long as he promised he would not overturn apartheid. And he could have gotten out. And the world political pressure kept coming on and on. Some of you are old enough in the room, you might remember all the Free Mandela stuff. He became symbolic of something. And then when it was about to go down, I mean go down, like I said, you can't oppress everybody all the time. When it was about to be a bloodbath in South Africa, the president, his white jailers come to him, will you save us? Think about that now. Will you save us? This democracy you keep talking about, this world that you were talking about where we would share power and you wouldn't kill all the white people, that you would find a place for all of us to live together. You still believe that? Because people sure want you out. We'll let you out if you save our hides. Think about that. So he's been envisioning all of this time a constitution that's going to work for everybody. So after 27 years, they let him out. And he does get elected. And I'm not saying it's without incident, but it's certainly less than it would have been if he had stayed in. But you know what he did? The guy who was president, who let him out, is a guy named de Klerk. And he made de Klerk his vice president. Now think about that. You got a white dude who's president of apartheid South Africa, who's going to take the number 2 position to a black dude who has been locked up for decades, who's going to overthrow this apartheid. And they overthrow it together and win the joint Nobel Peace Prize. Look it up. Look it up. I'm talking infinite possibilities. When you stay in possibility, the time comes right. When you stay in possibility, the truth crushed to earth will rise and rise again. When you stay in enough possibility, right action involves everybody. Listen to what I'm saying. Right action involves everybody. The so-called oppressors as well. Slaves couldn't have freed the slaves. Women couldn't have given themselves the right to vote. People with disabilities couldn't have signed the American Disability Act. It's an and. Are you with me? And if we have the courage not to villainize, if we have the courage not to demonize, if we have the courage to keep beyond whatever the circumstances are here, keep imagining, keep living. See, when they were cracking those rocks, they were living it. I know from my own life, the world that we have here now, that's the world I was living. I didn't care what the circumstances were. I didn't care that it was illegal to be gay, a felony. I didn't care. I didn't care that it was satanic. I didn't care that we were sick by the psychiatrist standards. Like all that stuff, it's like it doesn't matter because I know what I know. Are you with me? And if you calibrate up at the higher frequency level, then you draw all unto you. But there has to be, it's got to be something to rise to. You don't get up underneath all the crud and push it up. That's not what happens. You don't even get suction cups and pull it up. You rise. You rise. Think of water that boils. You've got that first bubble, boom, and that second bubble, boom, and that third, boom, 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 till after a while there are enough that have let go, that have risen, and you've got the boiling water. Will you boom up? It's like regardless of the circumstances are, will you let yourself rise up? Rise up. And I guarantee you, you will see. There's a beauty that's there. There's possibility that's there. You'll have that mountaintop experience where even if, I didn't think all this would happen in my lifetime, but when you see the vision, it doesn't matter whose lifetime. When you see the vision, you're not just fighting for yourself. You're fighting for your children and your children's children and your children's children's children. Because you can see, you don't hold their future down to your facts. Why hold your future down to your facts? Dare. I can hear back within my mind. You'll get to the point where what you do see, you don't see. And what you don't see, you will. Dare to get to that place where your desire for certainty just dissipates in infinite possibility. And you'll know joy there. Let's pray. Let's pray. Oh, Mother, Father, God, we dare in this moment. We dare to see the beauty, we dare to see the opulence. We dare to see the divine everywhere. Create in us a clean heart, oh God, and renew a right spirit within us. Our places of hardness of the heart, we lay it down. Our time-blinded eye, the fears, the worries, the concerns, the agendas, the timetables, the desires, the expectations. We lay it all down. We lay it down. As we take a breath. And we move into that stillness. That place of quiet repose. We allow our rhythm to synchronize with the repose of God. Because in that place, we can know. We speak a word for the healing of this planet, for responsible human stewardship of it. And we speak a word for this United States of America, that it play its rightful role in protecting the planet, restoring the planet, in leading those efforts, not shirking our responsibility. I speak a word for our generosity of spirit, so that wherever we are, we share the bounty. Having the courage to circulate whatever it is that we have, not hoarding. There's enough. It's not a supply problem, it's a distribution problem. And we let it go so that all needs are met. We speak a word of compassion, that our words be kind and encouraging, that our actions be empowering, our hearts forgiving, we live in a place of opportunity. Speak a word of sweet release. Those places that we've been holding ourselves or each other in bondage, or shame, or guilt, or fear, or worry. I speak a word of celebration of life. In every moment of every day, souls are coming into this planet and souls are transitioning out of it. And I pray from wherever that is that they've come and wherever that is that they're going, and we know that there's an unbroken chain of life. I speak my word of sufficiency. All needs met. Divine right housing. Divine right employment. Sustenance. Divine right companionship. Opportunities. I speak my word for wholeness and balance and integration, for healing of mind, body, and spirit. That whatever lessons we have to learn from all of our addictive tendencies, we learn. And we can let that drug of choice go, regardless of what it is. Because we got a new walk. And we've got a new talk. We've got a new way of being. And I speak my word for Inner Light Ministries. This spiritual community without walls. This spiritual community beyond membership. This divine idea of this consciousness of people coming together and proclaiming their divinity and uplifting each other. I speak my word. Divine right residence, divine right housing, divine right next step iteration. We know that our perfect home reveals itself, and that it has everything that we could possibly want or need. And as we consciously release this land to what's next, all needs are met. And we say, thank you. Thank you for all of the reorganization. Thank you for all of the people who are coming, for all of the healings, for those who hear the call. Speak my word, claiming that we step into our full mission and purpose and fulfillment. All needs met. Oh, it's good. It's good. The laughter, the caring, the prayer, the support. In God, all things are possible. In this we rest. In it we stand. We get out of the way. We allow it to be. And so it is. So it is, and so it is.